guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're not subscribed, do so and hit the notification bell so you can be the first to know when new content is up and running on the channel. So today we are talking about the placenta, and I want to share with you what I did with my placenta. And you might be thinking, why did you do anything with your placenta? These are some of the things you actually can take into consideration when you are expecting. So a bit of background, I had always just kind of through my radio work and speaking to different people had known that the day I am pregnant, I want to keep the placenta. I've done some research around actually eating the placenta because some people say it's nutrient rich and that it can help with postpartum depression. Some fathers of the children choose to eat the placenta because they say it's their way of feeling a part of the birthing experience. You can literally search YouTube and you will see people having recipes on how to eat the placenta. Some of them cook it and it kind of looks like beef strips once they've cut it up, or kind of like the texture of liver. And others will put it in a smoothie with, fruits and things and have it. But please be aware that there are possible risks to just consuming a raw placenta because it can carry disease and illnesses. So I did do that research, and then I thought to myself, what if I go the route where they dry the placenta and then basically turn it into powder and pulverize it and then put it in capsules, and then you drink those. And there's many Hollywood celebrities that have spoken openly about what they've done with their placenta. But then I think close to the time, because I left it a little bit last minute, I didn't do enough research to see which are the companies in South Africa that can take your placenta and put it into capsules. So I was reading about what are the other things that people do with their placentas. And some, this is possibly very, very taboo and possibly something that happens a lot more overseas, is that they will use the blood to make a print on their child's onesie. They will turn it into a framed piece of art. So there are many things that people do with placentas. I then said, you know what? I love the idea of planting a placenta and that your child always knows where their home is. Now, at the time when I gave birth, I had already said to the doctor, I want to keep my placenta, even though I hadn't really thought out in my mind, how is it going to work? What I didn't understand until the time of the keeping of the placenta is that there's a whole procedure that goes with it. So first thing is that I told my gynae that I'd like to keep my placenta, and I think the hospital made me sign some documents saying, yes, I agree to keep my placenta. Now, if you think about it, many people give birth and their placenta is discarded off. It's considered as medical waste. So there has to be a whole lot of protocol when it comes to that. Then what happens, because I thought they just give you the placenta and then that's it, that you take it away. But actually they keep it and they test it in the lab. And I'm assuming that's where they check for all disease and illnesses until they let you know that it's safe for you to come and collect the placenta. Then the hospital was like, oh no, you don't just go and fetch your placenta. You actually have to go to the police station and do an affidavit. The affidavit is for you to basically say, I confirm and certify that I'm carrying this medical waste, which is my placenta, for cultural/religious purposes. And for some reason, those seem to be the only reasons that it's justified to do so. You get that document, you get the signed paperwork that you did, and then they tell you to get a container. At the time, we literally just drove down the road from the hospital and we just found some spaza shop that happened to have a container, and came back to the hospital and it was frozen and already in sort of like a vacuum seal bag. And then they hand it over to you and you sign for the placenta, and then it literally came home and was in the freezer. But I always knew in my mind that I wanted to plant it into a tree. So the plan was gonna plant this placenta into a tree. The place where I was living at the time had a very small garden, and it was winter, and the idea of trying to plant a tree, I was so scared that it was going to die, so postponed it. What I did make sure that I did though is that in the freezer it is very clearly labeled do not eat, and it's wrapped in probably 5-6 layers of plastic so that everybody that's in the house, you know, the helper or family knows, do not open this thing, it's my placenta. So come time now, I hadn't really taken the time to get to understand what is the tree or the plant that I would love to plant the placenta. And think about it, the moment, you know, you got to leave it to defrost, you put it in there, you bury it in the soil that will be growing with this plant. In my mind, I thought, how poetic and beautiful is that, that a part of your child and a part of you, the thing that connects the both of you, literally becomes this plant, because your DNA is in there and it's going into the plant. It's a beautiful thing. All of the nutrients that you had that were feeding your baby, the things that were keeping you and your baby connected, all going into this plant or this tree, that eventually when your son or your child is much older, they get to see that tree and it's their tree. So moved house, and now the opportunity is available to actually do this whole thing and plant the tree. And I want it in such a way that if I move house again, the tree can move with, so that Mukugeki just always knows where home is. So currently, as it stands, the placenta is still in the freezer, and I'm just waiting for the right opportunity, the right tree, the right plant for it to be planted. And we'll probably start in a pot so that all of the nutrients from the placenta are going straight into the tree, and then find a beautiful place for it to grow. And can you imagine if that just becomes home forever? Mugogeki, when he has children, can come and show them, guys, this is the tree that literally was made of me and my mom's like blood and everything. Like, isn't that just so beautiful? And you can do the research about what all of the different cultures do. And I also kind of love the fact that it speaks to grounding his life, you know, and just saying that my son is a part of the earth, he's a part of the soil, and we've given a part of him, a part of me, to the soil. So that's what I did or am doing with my placenta. And I'd love to find out from all of you what you did with your placenta. If you ate it, how did you eat it? Did you do it raw? Did you do it in a smoothie? Or maybe you tried to do something with your placenta, but actually you were not able to because there was some disease or illness that they didn't give it back to you. I've heard of stories that some hospitals backdoor, right, will be selling people's placentas to use for muti and other funny things. I have heard these stories from nurses. I've heard these stories from people who have given birth that asked for their placenta and ended up just not getting it, because apparently it's a whole market where people are making money. But share with me your placenta stories, and maybe you can recommend to me the plant or the tree that we should be using. Maybe it should be an oak. Let me know what you think. Put in the comments down below. Ask any of the questions that you'd like to. I will make sure that I shoot a video with an update the moment all is decided and the tree is planted. Thank you so much for tuning in and for watching. Don't forget to subscribe again, and of course hit the notification. Oh, don't you see, talking about placentas. Hit the notification bell. You know what I meant.